Hello, Unchained family. This is Faith Unchained, where we teach you how to break the chains that bind you. So guys, if you're new to the channel, I ask that you please subscribe and be sure to hit that notification bell, because each time I upload a video, you're going to get notified. And like this video, because each like helps us to get seen by more viewers like you. And please share this video and our content with anyone that you know. So guys, we are going to cover a very important topic today, and that's the Amber Guyger trial and the events that took place in it. So we're going to cover the events that took place between the brother, the judge, the bailiff, and the courtroom. We're also going to talk about the facts surrounding the evidence, surrounding the events of the case, and what happened to lead up to the trial and the sentencing. And we will also be covering everything that people are saying and how Christians should respond to injustice. So here we have Amber Guyger. She's 31. She's a white female police officer. She's been on the force for 5 years. So she had just completed her shift. She was off duty, 13 hours. Now, I do want to say this. So regardless of whether an officer is on or off their shift, they still have the same authority as if when they were on shift. So even when they're off duty, they can still arrest you. They still have all of the authority that they have while they're an on-duty police officer. That's 24/7. So they're still held to, they should still be held to the same standard as when they're on duty, because their training, their protocols, all of it still applies regardless of whether or not they're on or off duty. So apparently Guyger, she got off on the wrong floor and entered into the wrong apartment, mistaking it for hers and the person inside of it as an intruder. That person being the 26-year-old black male Botham Jean. I hope that I'm saying that right. They called him Bo for short. So Botham Jean, shooting him, and as a result of her not getting the proper aid that he needed, he died. So Guyger was reported to have been having an affair with her co-worker and partner, and she was sexting him and not paying attention to her surroundings. Here we have a case of incompetence, negligence, and just plain stupidity. So here's the thing, and please excuse the trouble. Yes, what Amber Guyger did is absolutely wrong and should absolutely be punished, regardless of whether or not it was an accident or not. She still needs to be punished. And she's not the first cop to receive a 10-year sentence, because usually for cops, that's around the same time frame that they get sentenced. We've had guys who's been sentenced 7 years or 7.5 years, and another one for 12.5 years. So she's not the first to receive this sentence, right? Because here's the thing, God hates any and all injustice, and his people should as well, regardless of race. We tend to put race into a lot of things when we shouldn't. Regardless of gender, we do that as well. Regardless of your political views, and regardless of your emotions. Leviticus 19:15 tells us, be fair, no matter who is on trial. Don't favor either the rich or the poor. So, an important question that needs to be asked is, how should Christians respond to injustice? So, the big issue that needs to be discussed is our response to everything that took place within that trial. So, first, the forgiveness of the brother, Brandt Jean, by embracing Guyger and letting her know that she's been forgiven. He also says that he loves her as he loves anybody else. And I don't agree with this last part that he said. He said, if it was up to me, I wouldn't want you to be sentenced. I want you to go free. I don't agree with that last part, and we'll talk more about that later on in the video, so please stick around. From there, the judge proceeded to hug her and give her a Bible and told her to get right with God during her sentence. And then the bailiff hugs and comforts Guyger. Not only that, she messes with her hair, which is a little too much. You're doing too much there. Don't know why you were doing that. This isn't high school. If you know anything about high school, well, black girls have some sort of fascination with white girl hair, and they would play with it, they would braid it, if they were really, really cool with one another. I don't know why. So this isn't high school. Come on now. However, people, Christians and non-Christians, are literally angry about the sentence. They're so angry about it that we missed the opportunity to see Christ-like character on display. So this brother has every right to be angry, unforgiving by our standards. However, he displayed Christ-like character, showing love, kindness, compassion, and forgiveness towards Guyger. See, here's the thing. There's so much hate, anger, and bitterness, and utter disdain for this woman, and even wishing bad on her throughout her sentence that's going on. People, instead of seeing the character of Christ on display, they choose to get all in their feelings, emotions, and worldly understanding of things. That's what people are choosing to do instead of seeing what just happened within the courtroom. So we have one of two choices in times like these. So we can choose to respond negatively, which sinfully. And Galatians 5:19 through 21 tells us about our fleshly nature and the characteristics that we display in that nature, which is the same characteristics that these people are expressing. Or we can choose to respond positively, which is in a godly manner, which is commanded of us in Galatians 5:22 through 24. These are the fruits of the Spirit. And if we consider ourselves to be Christian like we say, and we walk in accordance to God's will and purpose, then these are the characteristics that we should be displaying. So, if we are Christians, we don't have the right to put color, to put emotions, to put political views in front of our Christian character. Did you hear that? We don't have the right to put our color, emotions, or political views in front of our Christian character. Because here's the thing, people won't see Christ at all when we display negative responses, because our Christian character took a back seat to our fleshly one. What we are saying when we respond negatively is this. This is what you're saying. It doesn't matter to me what people think about me, Jesus, or Christianity. It's really about me expressing how I feel about the injustice that I see. I don't care if they see Christ, because I want them to see me. If we're truly guided by the Spirit and belong to Christ, then we don't obey the flesh. I want you to keep that in mind. So, isn't it hypocritical of us to mess up, no matter the sin, and to beg and plead with God to not be so harsh on us? But when someone else messes up, we want the full wrath of God brought down upon them. Now, I want you to stop really quick. I'm going to take a pause. I'm not saying people shouldn't be punished. Hear me out, because I have a lot to say. I'm not saying people should not be punished. So do not take it that way just because I'm saying that we should forgive these people. When there's injustice, we should stand against the injustice and stand up for those who cannot stand for themselves. However, when injustice takes place, as Christians, we must put on our Christ-like character so that all the time people see Jesus and not our fleshly nature. Because it is in these opportunities that we have to show we as Christians, there's a difference between us and you. There's a difference between us and you. Not that we're superior to you. We're not superior to anybody. Don't mistake what I'm saying. But we have the opportunity to put love, kindness, respect, compassion on display so that we're supposed to let our light shine so that all may see the good that we do and praise our Father in heaven. That's Matthew 5:16. We're supposed to let our light shine, and we're supposed to do this at all times. Because when people see times like these, and they see us acting in a Christ-like manner, there's something different about you. I just can't quite put my finger on it, but I want to know more. Well, here's an opportunity to let me tell you a little something about Jesus. Because here's the thing. It's not about us. It's not. We have a habit of making these things about us as individuals. It's not about us. It's about Jesus Christ, because we may not always get the verdict right here in this lifetime. But you can trust that God will in the next. Because his judgment is fair. And he doesn't make any mistakes. So, earlier I said I don't agree with the brother that she should walk free and not be punished. That's true. I don't agree with that. But we should forgive. But here's the thing. That forgiveness does not erase the consequences. That forgiveness does not erase the consequences. Do you hear me? That forgiveness does not erase the consequences. I said that 3 times. So hopefully it got through to you. Again, this incompetent officer should be punished because she committed a crime. She murdered an innocent man in his own home, and she must pay the consequences for her negligence, for her incompetence, for her stupidity. She needs to pay. She's an officer, and she should be held to a higher standard because 24/7 she is given authority of a government official 24/7. It's her job to protect people like us. Fighting fire with fire will only create more fire. In short, as Christians, we should not repay evil with more evil, but rather evil with good. It should be said, enforcing eye for an eye. That's the job of the government. Forgiving others is ours. I want you to listen to what I'm saying. Sentencing is the job of the government. Forgiving others is ours. Jesus commanded to turn the other cheek. And this applies to personal relationships. That applies to us as citizens, not judicial policy. The forgiveness is personal and real, but the judge still should justly demand that the sentence be carried out. The believer is commanded to forgive and should be different from those who follow fleshly inclinations to respond in kind to somebody who does wrong to them. It should be said, Christ is separating responsibility of the government to punish evildoers justly from the responsibility we all have on a personal level before God to love our enemies. However, it's easier to go our own way and do our own thing instead of going God's way. And we do this because of a lack of understanding. My people perish for lack of knowledge. We do this because of our fleshly nature and desire. And we do this because we want to be our own gods. That's why we do it. That's why we do it. So, there's one more thing that I want to cover, and this is important for you to understand. Righteous indignation or righteous anger. We're going to talk about what it is and what are its characteristics. So, righteous indignation. It's a reactive emotion of anger over mistreatment, insult, or malice of another. So, what this means is, this is anger that is void of sin. Anger void of sin. I want you to remember that. So, Ephesians 4:31-32 tells us how we should operate in this anger. It tells us how we should operate in this anger. When it comes to correction, Proverbs 26:4-5 teaches us to not respond to a fool on his level and not to allow ourselves to be brought down to the level of a fool by answering him as foolishly as he has spoken. We tend to do that a lot. We tend to step down a few levels because we want an eye for an eye. And instead of correcting this fool and pointing them in the right direction, we become fools ourselves because we want what we call justice. And a lot of times we take it into our own hands. We answer in a way that gives no dignity no satisfaction to this individual, or he will take himself seriously. And as a result, for our foolishness, that's exactly what these people do. It's important that we understand our human anger versus God's anger is two very different things. There's two kinds of anger. There's righteous and there's unrighteous. So, as I said, we're going to talk about the characteristics of righteous anger. Number one, godly anger is God-like anger. It's an expression of the anger which he has towards the actions of men. So, godly people are angry when God is angry. Whenever somebody violates God's law. But it's anger consistent with holy and righteous character of God. It's anger that is consistent with the holy and righteous character of God. As I said earlier, it's anger void of sin. Godly anger is legal anger. God's anger isn't vigilante justice. It is legal justice. So an example of vigilante justice would be burning down an abortion clinic, endangering the lives of others, and not expressing your anger legally because you're committing a sin when you do. You're endangering the lives of those other people. Yes, you should be angry at the abortion clinic because what they're doing is wrong, but you don't take justice into your own hands. Third, God's anger isn't explosive, but only slowly provoked. So, here's the thing. Repeatedly, God warned the sinful Israelites throughout Scripture, through his prophets, before pouring out his wrath on them. God's anger doesn't have a hair trigger. It's not quick. He gives us a chance to correct our sin. Number 4, God doesn't take pleasure in expressing his anger in the judgment of men. And number 5, godly anger is always anger under control. You don't lose your temper in righteous indignation. You don't. So, when it comes to resolving righteous indignation, because even with something righteous, as humans, we tend to make it unrighteous. So, the first step, there needs to be confrontation. We're facing the sinner with their sin. And we do this in a private or small setting. If this person repents, then the matter is resolved. However, if they continue in sin, we make it more public until the situation has subsided. So, if this person accepts correction, our anger needs to turn to forgiveness. When this person is being disciplined, our anger needs to turn to grief for this person. However, anger should not linger. Or, here's the thing, it's going to turn into bitterness. And when we abuse righteous anger, that anger can lead to hate. It could lead to slander. It could lead to false testimony. It could lead to stealing. It could lead to adultery. And it can lead to murder, becoming something that is ungodly. When it comes to injustice, we should be angry, but be angry and not sin. So it's not a matter of can we do all this, but will we actually do all of this? That's what it's a matter of, guys. So guys, that's all for today's video. If you like what you saw, please like this video, and please leave any questions, comments, or suggestions that you might have about today's video or any future video that you might want to see, and I'll do my best to get back to each and every one of you. And so, quick question, what do you guys think about what took place during the trial? And should we forgive Amber Guyger? Should we pray for her? And should we love our enemies? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And please, if you're new to this channel, I urge you to subscribe to Faith Unchained. And be sure to click on that notification bell so you get updated to any time I upload a video, so you don't have to miss a single one. Like this video because each like helps us to get seen by more viewers like yourself. And please share this video and our content with anyone and everyone that you know, guys. Guys, thank you for watching all the way to the end. This is Faith Unchained, where we teach you how to break the chains that bind you. Guys, take care, and I'll see you next time.